Okay, so the first test is they have one that's supplied with it that allows you to drive Eddie around with using the Xbox controller, the wireless controller. So to get it fired up though, I have taken the laptop, I have a connection to the Kinect, which is on one USB controller. This laptop has two USB controllers, so the Kinect actually uses 61% of the USB when I looked in the device manager. So it gets its own controller, and everything else is on the other one. And the everything else is a USB that connects from the laptop down to the control circuit board down here, as well as another USB that connects the laptop to the little wireless Xbox controller pod. Now, I mentioned it a couple times in the blog, but a lot of people are confused about Microsoft Robotics Studio. They're used to a lot of the other robotics software packages where you essentially write the program using the software development tool, and then you download it into the robot, and then the robot runs the actual application. It's not the way Robotics Studio works. Robotics Studio, the program is always running on the laptop on Windows 7. It then sends messages down the USB to the robot hardware, and on the propeller chip on the control board on the Eddie robot itself, it has a command interpreter. And so as Robotics Studio is sending down the various commands like drive forward, stop, and gathering sensor data, all of the differential drive commands are being sent from the laptop down to the platform, and the drive wheels are executing it. And all the sensor data likewise is being gathered on the hardware platform and sent as messages back up to the laptop, where Microsoft Robotics Studio interprets it and reacts to it. So anyway, so that's a little different way of doing it. But it gives you the power of the laptop to do all your computation. So you actually, besides the 8 processors on the propeller board, you have another processor here, dual core, 4-threaded processor, and so you've got a lot of multi-processing computer power going on. So anyway, so this is a little more of an advanced robotics platform. So they have a program that they send to test this with. You go under Programs, Microsoft Robotics Studio, and there's a thing called the DSS command window, which is the decentralized software services. So you bring that up and you simply type Eddie, because all the path information and everything is part of it. Okay, well, probably first I should show you on the back is are the power buttons, and so we turn on the main power, and that powers up the control board, and turn on the wheel power, which might not be such a good idea sitting up on the table, but you gotta live dangerously every once in a while. Okay, so the propeller board is up and it's ready to communicate with the laptop. So we just type in Eddie, which if everything goes right. Okay, what we got here is a robot dashboard, they call it. It essentially, I'm going to stop this and zoom in so you can see. Okay, well, you're seeing a picture of me through the eyes of Eddie. This is the Eddie manifest that I'm running. It has 3 components up on the screen. It has the robot dashboard, which basically can be used to drive Eddie as well as read his sensor inputs. So we have, I mentioned the sensors, the infrared sensors, as well as the sonar or the ping sensors, and those values are all along the bottom. We have this battery status here. We can change the tilt angle of the Kinect here, and then we can actually use this sphere here and arrow keys to or put a cursor on it and drag it around and use it to drive the robot. Now you'll notice I have over here under drive commands, it says, I don't know if you can read it. Oh well, so the other 2 windows are the video this is the RGB videos feed right here. And then up here is the depth feed. And this is the infrared depth camera that is interpreting the distance. As I move away, you can see right here, let's see, right here is the video camera, and I'm back here and moving away. So anyway, so those two windows are going on simultaneously. Over here, there's the drive enabler, and it says enable. In other words, drive is disabled. You remember I turned the power onto the motors. But to show you here, I should be able to grab this, and I don't know if you can see here, but I can move this around, and I could actually use that to drive Eddie. But also up here under device, I have receiver for Windows, and it's the Xbox 360 receiver. So it is synced up with the Xbox receiver. And matter of fact, I can take the Xbox and let's see. This is really weird here, backwards and upside down. So by moving this thumbstick here, you can, I don't know if you can see on that, but I'm actually moving the position on the dashboard. So so anyway, that is how you verify that everything is working. And the next step is to get it off the table and enable the drive. Okay, so I've moved Eddie down to the floor, and as I said, I have the motors on. The only thing I have not done is enable the drive, and so I'm going to do that right here. Drive enabled. Okay, so we'll see. So, as I've been trying to practice this, I thought it's good that this does not involve aerial competition, like a quadcopter or something, because I would probably destroy it just playing with it. So anyway, you can see it's a differential drive. If you give it a full turn, it will turn on its own radius, and it will go fairly fast. There's about full speed right there. Full speed backwards. So anyway, there's Eddie. This kind of confirms that all the software is loaded properly, the hardware works, I assembled it correctly, and now I'm ready to move on to some more coding. Alright, I have a little postscript to my driving around video. I'm still a really bad driver, but I found it wasn't entirely my fault. After a little more playing around, I discovered that whenever with the thumbstick, I told Eddie to go to the right, he was actually going to the left. When I told him to go to the left, he was going to the right. So I guess I can blame that a little bit on my lack of coordination. I did check with on the forums, at the Parallax forums, and other people had seen the same behavior. One person found a line in the services code. It was in the C# code that they compiled to run this as a service platform, and he made a change there, and that fixed the behavior. But that actually brings up a pretty good point, because once again, you are kind of dealing with a split personality here. You have the program that is running on the laptop, which is the RDS program, and you have the firmware that is running on your robotic platform. And the two of them are communicating. So when you have problems, one of the first things you have to determine is if the problem is up in the RDS code itself, or if the problem is down with the firmware. This all is very new. The RDS is beta 2. The Kinect that I'm using right now is the SDK is beta, and the firmware on Eddie is pretty new also. So anyway, that's something to think about when you're doing your developing, testing, and debugging. So I guess that's about it. And the next thing I have to do now is start working on the depth on the Kinect and write a service so that Eddie can go into a follow me mode. So anyway, have a video on that hopefully this weekend or maybe Monday. That's my weekend project. So thanks a lot. See you later.